Heartland Season 18 is finally here, and the much-anticipated new season opens with the Bartlett-Fleming family facing new challenges, old rivalries, and tensions that foreshadow an exciting season to come, full of emotional depth, family drama, and relentless determination. In this episode, Amy navigates a budding romance with Nathan, while Lou, Jack, and Tim feel the pressure of a water shortage and competition from Price Beef. Meanwhile, Logan faces a dilemma that tests his loyalty to the ranch, and Katie embarks on a creative new journey. Want to know more? Then keep on listening to this recap of Heartland Season 18, Episode 1. The episode picks up just 1 week after the events of Season 17, and Heartland Beef begins to feel the strain of their past decisions. If you remember, in the Season 17 finale, we saw Lou, Jack, and Tim visit the Garland Foods HQ to pitch a new idea, but the whole partnership with Garland Foods collapsed after the new CEO of the company dismissed them before Lou could even start her pitch, and Lou declared that Heartland Beef doesn't need Garland Foods to survive. So, now they are left without their main distributor, spurring Lou to work harder than ever to keep the business afloat and protect Heartland's legacy. Throughout the episode, we saw Lou in her element, looking for new ways to market and sell their product, which was especially important to her, Jack, and Tim, after they found out that Price Beef had managed to steal Garland Foods right out from under them and is now Garland's main supplier. This was a big blow to Heartland Beef, but it made Lou all the more determined to make it work, and she managed to come up with 2 major opportunities for their business. Firstly, Lou got in touch with Sunrise Calgary, a popular morning show that was interested in doing a segment on the Heartland cookbook, and even wanted them to make Jack's famous beef stew live on air. But the catch was that they wanted Jack to be the one doing it, since they thought that a cowboy making the stew would look more interesting. Jack initially refused, preferring to stay out of the spotlight, but Lou did manage to get Jack to promise to think about it. Secondly, Lou had a meeting with a manager of a hospitality group that owns restaurants across Canada, and managed to get them interested in making Heartland their exclusive beef provider. The only thing was that they would need Heartland to provide bison as well as beef, which is a problem since Heartland Beef doesn't raise bison. Lou was optimistic about them being able to start raising bison. She even put together a detailed outline of how much everything would cost. However, Jack and Tim vetoed the bison idea right away, which meant that the deal with the hospitality group was dead too. That got Lou really upset. However, what she didn't know was the real reason Jack and Tim refused to even think about raising bison. Heartland was facing a serious water shortage. Jack refused to tell Lou about their dwindling water supplies because he didn't want to worry her. But eventually, the 2 cowboys came clean to Lou about their low groundwater levels, and Lou finally understood why they were so against her bison idea. Luckily, it was also the catalyst for some much-needed real talk between the 3 business partners. Jack and Tim finally understood that Lou was serious about being part of the cattle business, and that they should treat her accordingly. And, by the end of the episode, Jack even agreed to do the segment on the morning show. So, at the end of the episode, the family gathered around the TV to watch Jack's TV appearance. Jack had a few stumbles on air, but his natural charm won over, and the segment ended up being a success. As with every Heartland episode, we also saw Amy working with a client horse. This time, it was Tim's rodeo school horse, Stetson, a once great roping horse who is struggling to perform in the arena. After Amy and Logan had some time to work with Stetson, Amy quickly realized that Stetson would do better with a change of profession. He may not be fit for rodeo life anymore, but he still has plenty to offer as a working ranch horse. However, convincing Tim to accept this was no easy task. In fact, Tim flat out refused to accept that Stetson's best days in the arena were behind him, telling Amy that he can't afford to retire the horse from the rodeo circuit. But, by the end of the episode, Tim came around to Amy's idea and found the perfect new role for Stetson, to be Lou's new ranch horse. Throughout the episode, we saw Lou borrow horses from Amy to do her ranch chores, which frankly wasn't sustainable. So, now Lou will have her own ranch horse to ride whenever she needs. Now onto the topic that a lot of you were probably wondering about, Amy's relationship with Nathan. In fact, Amy spent quite a lot of time in the episode with Nathan. Their chemistry really is undeniable, yet it wasn't without its complications. And there were a couple big ones that were highlighted in this episode. Only 1 week had passed since we last saw them cloud-gazing together, and their relationship was pretty much at the same point as it was at the end of season 17. So, it was no surprise that Nathan finally asked Amy out on a proper date. However, things quickly got complicated. After Tim, Jack, and Lou found out about Price Beef taking their spot with Garland Foods, Amy thought that it was no longer a good idea for Nathan to pick her up for their date at the ranch. This is where the first complication came in, the rivalry between the two family businesses. Then, their date fell through because Nathan's dog Molly got hurt and he had to rush her to the vet. But when Amy went to Nathan's house that night to see how he and Molly were doing, she again got a taste of how guarded Nathan is. Hence, the second complication, Amy's wariness of Nathan's closed-off nature, especially after her experience with Finn. Throughout the episode, we saw Amy being open to the idea of getting closer to Nathan, only for Nathan to pull back whenever Amy tried to get him to open up. So when Nathan changed the subject, instead of confiding in Amy about what was really bothering him when she went to see him that night, it frustrated Amy to no end. They still had some sweet moments together, like when Amy made it possible for Nathan to work with Molly on sheep, after Molly refused to herd cattle after her accident. Or when Amy suggested that Nathan do a sheepdog competition to build Molly's confidence back up, and then helped him overcome his nervousness before his turn. But Nathan's emotional unavailability was becoming to be a red flag for Amy, making her second-guess their budding connection, which only became more clear when Nathan's ex-wife, Tristan, showed up at the same competition with her new husband. It not only shook Nathan, but Tristan's brief conversation with Amy only confirmed Amy's suspicions about Nathan's emotional walls. By the end of the episode, after a conversation with Lou, during which Lou advised Amy to trust her gut about Nathan, Amy turned Nathan down when he asked her on another date. In this episode, Logan also had a really interesting storyline. After last season's uncertainty, in this episode, Logan was firmly back at the ranch and helping Amy with client horses. However, he faced a new dilemma. Logan's truck had broken down, and to fix it, he needed some extra cash. Amy, of course, offered to pay his advance early, but when Logan told her that he would need 5 advances to cover the cost of the repairs, he had no choice but to seek part-time employment at Price Beef of all places. And, as you might imagine, Tim was not happy about this. When Tim found out, he confronted Logan about his new job and made Logan an offer: spy on Price Beef and gather intel, and in return, Tim won't tell Jack about Logan working for their main competition. Logan, of course, had no choice but to agree, since he didn't want Jack to find out about his gig at Price Beef. Yet Tim's scheme was short-lived because Logan was quickly fired. Why, you ask? Well, it turns out Logan was so nervous about the whole spying thing that he ended up backing a tractor into a fence, which got him canned. But all ended up well, and even gave us a touching moment between Tim and Logan. When Logan told Tim about what happened, Tim not only offered to help Logan out by fixing his truck, but also told him to keep it in the family and come work at the rodeo school the next time Logan needed some extra money. Finally, let's talk about Katie's arc in this episode. Over the last few seasons, we've seen Katie discover her passion for writing, so it's no wonder that in this episode, we saw her embark on a new journey of creative self-discovery. At the start of the episode, we saw a woman come into Maggie's to post a flyer for a creative writing class that she's offering at the local library, and Katie was really interested in it. However, when the time came to attend the class, she realized that the class was meant for adults aged 18 and over. So, Katie quickly exited the library before the class could even begin. But it seems like Katie really caught the attention of the woman teaching the class. She even gave Katie Rebecca, by Daphne du Maurier, to read after she saw Katie reading Bronte's Wuthering Heights when she first walked into Maggie's to post the flyer. So, with that as encouragement, At the end of the episode, we saw Katie going back to the library, and this time, she stuck around for the class, even answering the teacher's question correctly when nobody else volunteered an answer. One of the cutest scenes in this episode came when Nathan asked Lindy about Amy's favorite foods when Amy had to step away to take a call. At that stage, they hadn't met Nathan's ex-wife yet, so their relationship was still full of promise. But the real blow came at the end of the episode when we saw Nathan sit by a picnic blanket with Amy's favorite foods, waffles and clementines, laid out on it, and asking Amy out on another date, only for Amy to turn him down. It seems that despite Nathan keeping his emotions close to the vest, he really likes Amy and is interested in pursuing something with her. Now, all that is left is to see if Nathan can overcome his emotionally guarded nature and actually open up to Amy, or if their relationship really is doomed. This season premiere really set the stage for another exciting and emotionally charged season of Heartland. With the ranch facing competition, drought, financial strain, and your fair share of personal dilemmas, the Bartlett-Fleming family will have to come together once again to weather the storm. And I can't wait to see how it all unfolds. What did you think of this episode? Let me know in the comments. And I'll see you back here for another recap next week.